consultation. We are about to be friends today. We are about to go on a journey. And for you who are just joining us, once again, my name is Mary Iro, and I'm excited to be here. My joy, my light, my purpose is to use the art of storytelling and engaging conversations to inspire and transform lives to rise up to more than who we believe we can be, which is really our highest, greatest potential. So today, Jeff, we really want to talk about how to break through and change your life, because I believe that this is the year of transformation. It's not tomorrow, it's not next year, it is now, it is this year. And so, Jeff, I thought to myself, what better way than to come over and take over your channel and share some of the intriguing conversations that we've been having with the world, so that they too can be able to transform their lives and really get the breakthrough that I feel that I'm getting in my life.
Wow, that's really amazing, Mary, and I'm happy to have you. Please take us on. Take us on. I'm so excited about this. Yeah.
So I think the one thing I really want to be able to start off by doing, Jeff, is me and you have had conversations about what I wanted to achieve from our coaching sessions. However, I think in order to introduce this segment, I really want to dig deep and delve into what led me to you. I think we've not really touched on it. I don't think I think we've mentioned here and there, but really what led you to you. So it's been about, like, say 6 years. For 6 years, I'd been really trying to change my life. I felt that I was, getting lazy. I felt that I was feeling hopeless. I lacked direction. I once found myself around strangers, and the who I am, I'm very joyful, I'm very bubbly, but around strangers, I found myself just becoming this person who doesn't want to say hi, this person who's like minding my own business. It wasn't my true self. But I think the moment I realized that I really need to reach out and I really need to get some help, is I realized that the stories I was telling myself, all my stories were in my past. When I could reflect in joyful moments, I could just feel like I was reflecting in a time when I was younger, or over 6 years ago. And then I asked myself the one question, which is, I don't know when I'm going to die. I don't know if it's going to be 10 years, 50 years. Does that mean that my best life is behind me? Is that what it really means? And I think I refuse. I said, no, my past cannot be my story. I need to change my life. And I realized that I've been going about it the wrong way and I need some help. So that's the background that led me here. And so we've been having some great life-changing breakthrough sessions with you. And I really wanted to kick off this session by first asking you, I've been trying to change my life for so many times, and I was failing and trying and failing. Do you truly believe that it is possible in our adulthood to break our habits and change our lives?
Well, definitely. Your own story right now, sitting here with that smile and so many thousands of other people, I totally believe. In my own personal life, my story is, I had this belief that I was not enough, that something, no matter how much I tried and no matter how much I prepared, I always felt as though something was missing. Okay, so I dealt with that belief, and I totally believe deep in my heart, and a belief is a feeling of certainty, is surety about what something means to you. So I totally believe that anyone, no matter your condition, no matter your circumstances, you can turn your life around. Because I feel full, I feel fulfilled. I feel my cup is filled with the awareness of who I am. And from that belief that I'm not enough, I changed that belief and began to feel the truth that I am enough, that I'm not here to please people or to live anyone else's story. I began to own my story. So this is something I believe in my heart, because I've seen so many people turn their lives around, change their story, divorce their limiting story, redefine themselves, and design a completely new life. And you know what, Mary? It's not that it's not about a better version of you.
That's key.
It's actually about a new version of you. It's a new version. It's totally a new version of you. And the new version is a version that we are not aware of. It's a version that you've not experienced. Because always when we think of better version, then we always think, okay, this is going to be such a, a journey of 1,000 miles, to take years. Is introducing yourself to a new version of you, and it feels so good. It feels so great.
It's interesting that you say that, because I really connect with that. I feel like one, it's that whole mindset, believing that it's possible, because I feel like when I really reflect back to the moments where I've not succeeded, and why now I feel there's a shift in terms of trying to transform my life, it is because in the past, it felt like a long journey. It felt like something that is impossible. It felt like, and now I look back and I'm like, even when I was trying to change my life, did I truly, really believe that I can? And I can see that disconnect, and why actually that perhaps that's the first place to start in terms of changing that narrative and changing your story. And it has to start with you.
Yes, it has to start with you. It has to start, because most people focus on their goals so much they forget about themselves. There's no goal that is bigger than you. And the purpose of a goal is that you become a better person.
The purpose of a goal is that that is beautiful, is that you become a better person. Because I feel like we put these goals perhaps sometimes to become what society wants. Like, I want to be rich, I want to be successful. And then we lose the core of us becoming better people. And as such, we don't even attain the goals at all.
Yes, exactly. So my advice to anyone listening to us, is keep your focus here on you. Even with that goal that you're pursuing, whether it's relationship, finances, career, whatever it is, don't let the goal define your lack of it.
I think the other thing. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just having a conversation with my client about, postponing our happiness.
Yes, like as though we are sure of tomorrow, huh?
So I'll be happy tomorrow. I'll be happy one day. When I crush this goal, I'll be happy. When I win this, I'll be happy. When I get married, I'll be happy. When I, get this person in my box, I'll be happy. Then you get them in your box.
And you're still not happy.
And you're still not happy.
And I think
then
that's
the CEO position and you're still not happy. And you ask yourself, do you know what happens there? Someone asks themselves then, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? And that's why we have so many people that really are swept away by low self-esteem, feeling you don't deserve, like something is missing. It's because the goal focus is wrong. It's about you. It's about your destiny. It's about who you're becoming because of what you're doing. It's not about the goal. Yeah.
And I think that's definitely something to emphasize, really, that our first one of our first stages in breakthrough is really realizing that it's not about our goals. It's really about who we are becoming. No, I think one of the best statements that I had is Steve Jobs. And he said, I think if I quote him correctly, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I'm about to do today? And whenever the answer has been no for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something. So how do people know it's time to change their lives? And what are some of those key questions that they should start asking themselves in order to be able to identify, whoa, I need to change something. Whoa, this is not going in the right direction. When is that right time? How do you identify this is time for change?
Well, so just going right into it. When you feel you're not fulfilled,
yeah,
you feel something is missing in you, and you feel you need to do something to get that thing, there's a shift that is needed there. Because then you're going to imprison yourself in this journey of waiting for your fulfillment. And let me make it clear, there's a distinction between fulfillment and achievement. And you ask, which one comes first? The chicken or the egg?
I want to just process that. There's a difference between fulfillment and achievement. Yes, there is. Because you can achieve something and you're still not fulfilled, right?
So what comes first? What comes first, Mary?
What comes first between fulfillment and achievement? I think in my case, I would definitely say that I would prefer, not that it happens all the time, I would prefer fulfillment to come first, because I feel like if I'm fulfilled, then the achievement will come. However, in the past, and it's so clear as you say this, I can see how achievement has been what is coming first. And then I wake up and I'm like, okay, I got this, I've achieved this, but I'm not fulfilled, I'm not happy. Exactly. And I think that's where I've been going wrong.
Because those two are different. Fulfillment is an art. Achievement is a science.
Ooh,
those two are different. Achievement is a science. Anything you've achieved, I can copy and get the same. 1 + 1 = 2.
2. That is true.
Anyone can get that, whether they are black or white. They'll get it right. So fulfillment and achievement are totally different. So people think, as I pursue my achievement, I'll get fulfilled. It's not true. You'll get the whole world and still feel empty.
Yes. And now as you say it, I can really connect with it, because I think I've used this analogy. I feel like there was this staircase and it was on a wall, and I kept on climbing to the top of the staircase, and I got to the top of it and I realized my staircase is facing the wrong direction. Where I put my ladder should have been in a completely different wall, because what I was hoping to feel, I don't feel it. I'm not fulfilled, so that's interesting.
That's why so many people, I tell you, there are so many people that are driven to prove a point on the planet. And their goal is that if I achieve to this point, I'll prove a point that I'm this kind of a person. If I do this, I'll prove a point to someone. That is, the science of achievement cannot give you fulfillment. No matter how much it is. You'll have to really transition from looking into achievement to fulfill you, and prioritize fulfillment.
So that's key. That's key in understanding that where you start, or when you recognize it's time to change, it's really connecting and realizing and asking yourself, am I feeling fulfilled? And really that's like your pattern of understanding. Is it time to change or not?
Exactly. If I'm not, and you can't lie to yourself. You see, your heart knows. You know when you're not happy. You know when you're not fulfilled. So you can ask yourself, am I really fulfilled in this career, in this relationship, in this marriage, is this fulfilling? And you see, that has nothing to do with what you do. It has everything to do with you, who you are. Achievement has everything to do with what you do and what you don't do. Fulfillment has everything to do with who you are.
That's true. That is true. So another question, and I think this was also my struggle that I really want to talk about. So fine, you understand that you want to change. And there's a lot of information out there about, you want to change, give up your fears, change your friends. And there's no connection around that there's a lot of information, but there's no one who tells you how and where, and the journey. Like, no one tells you, okay, you want to give up your fears, this is how you do it, or this, with a lot of specificity that that to me has been lacking. And so I think my question for you is, once you've realized that you need to change, where do you start? And I think we've talked about renewing your, changing your narrative. let's talk about mental clarity, because I feel like you now need to ask yourself those fulfilling questions. But how do you do that? How do you, is it through meditation? Like, how do you really go to finding out, am I fulfilled? Finding out what is my story and I need to change it. And I think that's a key thread that I always feel like is missing.
Well, that's really brilliant. Before I go to the tools like meditation and other tools, let me talk about thinking. Because
I like
the
that.
Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is she. Because man is male and female.
Yes.
I think one of our biggest challenge is how we think. Most of the time we think, our thinking is towards judging ourselves. And we've grown up in this prison of judgment, limitation, and all that. And so even as you change, most of us, the first step is you changing how you're thinking. How do I know I'm thinking? Because you've asked specifics. The questions you ask yourself. That's how you're thinking.
Yeah, and I think that's where we fail. So I feel like in our day-to-day lives, we have a lot of noise. We wake up, we go to work or we go to school, we come back home, we sleep. We feel that something is not right, but then we don't stop to ask ourselves those questions, like what is not right, and really stop and answer that question to be able to identify it if we want to change it.
You see, people are asking themselves questions. You cannot help but think. But the question is your thinking helping you?
Is your thinking helping you?
So is he. Unless you change your thinking, you cannot change you. And to bring it down, thinking is the quality of your thinking is the quality of the questions you ask about yourself.
The quality of your thinking is about the questions that you ask yourself.
The quality of the questions.
Interesting.
So if you ask yourself, why am I always left out? Is that the question you're asking yourself?
It's not a quality question. It's not a quality question.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's a great observation.
Yeah. You ask yourself, why am I always the last? Why do people hate me?
Wow.
So, the first thing, one of the essential shifts in coaching is actually to change your question. Because once you change your question, you change your life, you change your direction.
And I think that we don't do that.
Two different questions.
Yeah. That is an eye-opening moment for me. That's my aha moment right there. It's the quality of the questions.
Yeah, exactly, Mary. Pick poor man and a rich man. Those are two questions there before you. Pick a happy person and a depressed person. Those are two different questions.
Yeah, true.
So the quality of our questions is the quality of our thinking, is the quality of our life. So what is a more quality question so that we can be more, more practical with people? If you ask a question like, how can I be fulfilled, or how can I be happy in this moment and in every moment of my life and make it even better?
Ooh.
How does that question feel? You see, that's a question that doesn't give you anxiety.
Yeah, you don't feel judged. Even you don't judge yourself in that question.
And you're in control. But let me tell you, one of the most asked questions. How can I prove that I'm better? How can I prove them wrong? If that's your question, if your question is, how can I prove them wrong? And then you're going to that relationship. How can I prove them wrong? You're going to that job. You will prove yourself wrong.
I'm smiling because I just, actually not too long ago, was it the day before yesterday? I was like, I'm going to prove that person wrong. I'm going to prove them wrong. And I'm like, now that we're talking, I'm thinking about it. And I'm like, yeah, like, who do you become by proving them wrong? You're leaning into their energy instead of you becoming who you really are and centering yourself in who you are.
That's true. And I tell you, we are our own worst enemy. And you don't actually need a witch doctor, some miracles I believe in miracles, but I tell you, you are the biggest miracle. You have to understand that and own that and really know that if you can only begin by shifting your thinking, by changing the questions you ask yourself subconsciously. Now, I know some people are wondering, when do I ever ask myself questions? Do you know how many questions, according to a research done, there are over 60,000 questions you ask yourself in one day. That means you've asked yourself, about 3,000 questions within an hour. And most of the questions, 90%, they are negative. Why are they leaving me? How come he doesn't want me? How come she doesn't want me? Why am I always like this? In fact, someone asked themselves out loudly, and people heard her. She said, why am I so stupid? And people heard and they look back and she is talking to herself.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's true. It happens. I mean, it happens. I feel like there's some questions I've asked myself, and now reflecting, I'm like, yeah, why did you ask that question? But you know what I think, Jeff, and perhaps this is something for later. I feel like as we delve into this and as we help people become better, I feel like the one thing we can give to people is a set of those questions that they should be asking themselves. I know you've given us an example right now, but I think, just to follow up, I mean, even just 10 questions, I think what happens is we're told sometimes what to do, and I think I've emphasized that, but we're not really shown. So coming up with a set of those questions, you have a beautiful website, just having 10 questions that people can download for free. I think that would be really amazing. So that's a challenge for you.
Challenge. We can do that. Yeah, check out these questions on dlc.co.ke.
Yes, absolutely. Let's shift to the tools. Finding mental clarity, because it is integral in shifting. As you've said, we have to ask these questions, but to ask those questions, we have to silence the mind. We have to be able to be aware and present, because even if you're asking those questions and you're in the middle of cooking or talking with someone, you ask yourself, and then guess what? Your mind shifts to whatever you're doing as well. So how do we start that process of creating an environment, creating stillness within us? What are some of those tools that can help us start that process?
So the first one is reflection. So just a moment, reflection is power. In fact, there's what we call in leadership coaching, stages of power. That people find themselves in different stages of power. There are people who are number one, powerless. That's a stage of power. Okay. Like you're powerless. Life happens to you. It just happens to you. Then you blame everyone. The second one is power by association. Then number 3 is power by achievement. And then number 4 is power by reflection.
Ooh.
And this is really powerful. This is the real shift when you reflect on yourself. I mean, there's a guy that said, a life that is not examined is not even worth living. It's not. It's just
a life that is not examined is not worth living. That's powerful. That's powerful to reflect on.
Yeah, so we take back our power when we can create at least 10 minutes every day to reflect. Reflect on your life. Do some inner work, inner reflection. And when you're reflecting, you can look at yourself and be an observer of your life. And look at who you're becoming. Reflect on, who am I becoming? Given these habits, given what I'm doing every single day, who am I becoming? Your mind is so intelligent. If you just, ask those right questions, and you're going to post them so you can make use of this, the reflection will help you to grow towards becoming a better person, towards becoming more peaceful, more loving, more joyful. And because if you're not that, if you're not peaceful, loving, joyful, then it doesn't matter what you have.
Yeah.
Everything else that might define you, it's nothing. It will not fulfill you.
But you know what's interesting is that I'm picking up the fact that whether we like it or not, we have to intentionally create the time. And I think the reason I want to emphasize that is because someone says they want to change, they know they want to change, and they're committed to it. What they're not realizing is they're not kind of sort of shifting their schedules, their habits to create that 10 minutes of reflection. So I think it's very key to emphasize change cannot happen until you purposefully create that time to reflect. And that's up to you. That no one can do that for you.
You can't be forced. It's a decision. And not creating that time, you've already made a decision. Because life is destiny. Our own destiny is created by decisions we make. Our own destiny. So once you make that decision, the decision begins, this is the person I want to be. Then now, these are my daily rituals. These are my habits, or these are the habits that this kind of a person lives out. Reflection, meditation. You know, are you able to really sit and be still? Even the good book says, be still and know.
Yes,
the awareness, knowledge is actually linked to stillness.
Yes. Oh, yes. That is so powerful. And I think that definitely, if I reflect on it, I would say that was the greatest reason, because I knew my mindset had shifted. I knew I wanted to change, but then in my schedule, in my habit, I didn't allow myself to be still. And I think that that's what's happening to so many people. They want to change, but they're like, I have a thousand things to do. You ask anyone, how was your day? I was very busy. I was doing so many things. And in that moment, someone else is consciously choosing, I'm going to take 10 minutes of my whole 24 hours to reflect. And that's how they're living that abundant, fulfilled life.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about, and you've touched on it right now, habits and routines, because I believe that you can have a changed mindset. You can want to change your narrative. You can change your thinking. But if your habits and your routines do not develop a system to allow you to be consistent, you will start and fail. And I say that as I am, but my personal story, my systems did not allow me to succeed beyond a certain time. So let's talk about the importance of building and developing habits and systems and routines.
Well, so we are defined again by our habits. When you look at the difference between people, is the difference between our commitment to those tiny little habits. And there's none of us that doesn't have rituals, by the way.
Yeah.
Question is, which one are you committed to? There are people who are committed to the ritual of sleeping. Ritual of being lazy. Yeah, it's like all of us. Human beings cannot help but have rituals.
Yeah.
We are creatures of habits. The question is, what is the quality of your rituals? And what are they doing to you?
The quality of your rituals.
Is the quality. It's not whether you have them or not. All of us have rituals.
And so really,
sorry,
go ahead.
And all of us are committed. Question is, what are your rituals? What are you committed to? There are some of us who are committed to be poor. And no matter, there's no life coach on the planet that can help them from that commitment. They are committed
to be poor. and they're committed because their routines, the quality of their routines and their rituals just shows that all they're doing every day is just, committing to be poor, and they're not changing that at all.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
So
I think
we have, people are committed. People have, the thing is, where is your commitment?
Yeah, where is your commitment?
There are people who are committed to be average. There are people who are determined, and you're going to check your rituals, you will know your commitment, whether you did that consciously or unconsciously.
Oh, tweet. I have to say that. Check your rituals.
You will know your commitments.
Ooh.
You know your commitments. Right there, you know, this is what I'm committed to. And then you know who you are. You know your identity.
Yeah.
You see,
Yeah.
the
Oh,
thing
that is
about
powerful.
identity and you know, being human, we stay so consistent with our identity, how we look at ourselves. We can't help it. The story of the scorpion and the frog. I don't know whether you've ever heard of that story. So it's a rainy day. There's a river. It's flooded. Then the frog sees the scorpion cannot cross on the other side, and the scorpion's food is on the other side.
Okay.
And the frog is like, "Can we have a deal?"
Yeah. Okay.
And the scorpion is like, "Can we have a deal? Please, I beg you, today, I'm not going to sting you. Take me on the other side of the river. I beg you. I'm so saved. I'm washed by the blood of Jesus."
I will not sting you.
I'll not sting you. Now, somehow the frog accepted.
Okay.
And they started the journey. It was good. They're going across the river. And guess what? When they came to the middle of the river, the
scorpion.
What's the name again? I'm forgetting. What's the name? The scorpion stung the frog. And the
wait, they're in the
like,
middle of the river.
Yes. Are you crazy? We are going to drown both of us.
Yeah.
And the scorpion was like, what did you expect? I'm a scorpion. I sting. This is who I am.
Maya Angelou says, when someone shows you who they are, believe them.
Believe them.
Believe them.
But then there are people who don't even know who they are. Look at your rituals.
Yeah.
That's your commitment. That's your commitment. That's who you are. So to change that, you can change your rituals, change your thoughts, change your daily rituals, get a commitment, get a partner, someone can hold you accountable. Because we are creatures of habits. We always go back to the habits that we know.
Yeah, yeah. That is, I think if there is anything from this particular point that we can, really remain with, is to really realize that the importance of really connecting that we cannot change and transform our lives without really analyzing the quality of our daily rituals and how do they serve us to get us to the next life, which is to the new life that we want to birth within ourselves. That is beautiful. So I think something I really want to touch on, and I will quote Marianne Williamson here.
Yeah.
And I think you introduced me to this. It is our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. And the reason I really wanted to talk about that poem, and it's a very popular quote right now, is the fear and feeling inadequate. I will tell you this, and to be very transparent, is some of the things that I've wanted to accomplish as I think about changing my life. The questions that I've asked myself is, who are you? Who are you, Mary? Who do you think you are? Shaking my head in the mirror. Who do you think you are? Why do you think you can achieve that? And so I begin this journey of trying to change my life. And then all this fear surrounds me. And then it shrinks me and it diminishes who I am first. And then two, it veers me off from my path. So let's talk a little bit about fear and why understanding fear and understanding how it works is important in our journey to break through and really change our lives.
Well, most people are stopped by fear. But then what is fear? What does it stand for? False expectations appearing real. But it can also...
False expectations appear... Ooh, Ooh, yeah, that's nice. That is really nice.
False expectations appearing real. Yeah. But it can also stand for face everything and rise. Face everything and rise.
Yes. Oh, yeah. You need to add that in the download. You need to have that acronym somewhere for us.
Yeah, so it depends on what kind of fear.
Yeah.
Because if it's face everything and rise. You have to get to a place where you believe in yourself so much that nothing can stop you. Nothing can stop you. If I allowed myself to be stopped, that wouldn't be Destiny Life Coaching today. And I went through fear, and the fear that I'm not enough, the fear that I don't deserve. I went through that. And at some point, it was just that false expectations appearing real. And that is the perspective of, a powerless position, until I shifted to face everything and rise, no matter what.
But then I think the disconnect here, which I think everyone gets to hear, that you have to defeat your fear, you have to defeat your fear. But what is still missing, even as I hear you and I agree with you, is how. So say, for example, like in your case, what were those moments when you felt fearful? What did you do? Because that's the first thing, all the information will say beat fear will limit you, but how, like, what did you do in your journey as you'd feel fear and then be like, okay, hold up, fear, you ain't gonna do this to me right now.
Yeah. Well, let me give you an example. So I'm 19 years old, and I went for this meeting. I'd never spoken in public, up to that moment. And I was dressed in a suit, and there are young people in the hall. It's about 350 young people, and somehow the speaker didn't show up in time. So what did the guy facilitating do? Look at the nicely dressed guy and say, "You there in a suit, come here and tell us something before the speaker comes."
Okay.
And my goodness, the first thing was, do I say no? I look behind and I'm like, I know you're not talking to me, and I'm looking behind. And insisted and say, yeah, you there. Let me tell you, that was my defining moment. Because I walked to the front there, and something happened as I picked the mic. No, before I picked the mic, I'm speaking and I'm shaking. But I made the decision to go. And that's why I say decisions equals destiny. I would have just sat there and feel the shame of all these teenagers. Maybe there's a girl I like there, I didn't want her to hear me, say something silly in front of people. But I defeated that by decision, not perfection, decision. So I made the decision,
that is important.
Out, and I went to the podium. Now, this is what happened. As the mic, somehow I began to shake, and my hands were shaking, and the microphone fell on the floor, making the loudest noise.
I'm not laughing, I'm just laughing at this. That was hilarious.
And guys laughed at me, and it was at that moment I decided something in me. And I know people are intuitive. People know when this thing is coming to crush you or coming to elevate you. And I knew at that moment, this is a defining moment. So I picked the mic and made a joke, about myself, and said, can you imagine the first time I speak and the mic decide to do this? They laughed even harder. And from that moment on, the fear of public speaking. I've spoken to 7,000 people seated for 3 hours nonstop. Kasarani Stadium. I've done it fearlessly because of that moment with 350 teenagers. And teenagers can be graceless.
Yes. So what I'm hearing, and what I'm understanding really is, if we want to beat fear, it means that we have to keep moving, to mean that we recognize that it's there, we feel it, but we continue. And I think it's that decision that separates the fearless and those who are fearful, not because people do not experience, all of us experience fear. It is because some of us actually choose to move, to keep on moving. So it's that decision. It's a decision.
It's a decision. It's a decision. And fear somehow goes when you make the decision. Because I remember how I felt. I remember there's a point in my speech, actually, guys now became, even when the speaker came, they said they want that guy to speak.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. I was just making fun of this newly discovered anointing.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So that's brilliant. Before we wrap up our session, I think there's one other question that I can think about that I really want us to hit on. That was a struggle for me. You know, when I looked back, I felt that I wanted to change. I just didn't have the right support system. I didn't have people who could help me. I looked at my circle and it's like everyone's living their life. Like I knew I wanted to change. And I was just like, can someone hold my hand and help me out? And I think that was the journey for the last 6 years. I mean, that was part of the reason I was like, you know what, Mary, you're struggling with this. You may not be able to actually do it yourself. Get some support. And, you know, that's kind of sort of how it led me to coaching with Jeff. But the one thing I realized when I reflected is that the process of change must start with you. Getting support is great. And that I had to stop that whole narrative that I have to wait for people. I have to have support. Oh my gosh, I'm not doing it just because I don't have people to help me. And so I want us to really talk about that, Jeff, a little bit. Support systems to help people change. You know, I'm fortunate that somehow 6 years later, I found myself at your doorstep, right? But there are so many other people who want to change their lives and people around them are not going through that same journey. What can they do? How can they start approaching change? And what are some of the support systems that you can share that they can know that these are perhaps areas, resources, or things that I can lean on to as I begin this journey?
Well, let me say this: you can't help the poor by being one of them. Someone said, you know, I don't know who said that. So the thing is, you have to separate yourself. Sometimes you have to separate yourself, get help, and then come back and deliver your people. Some of us, we are so comfortable in our, you know, limited relationships and surrounding that we feel even guilty to separate ourselves and get help. Help is there. But the thing is, are you able to separate yourself? Look at great people, even in, you know, there's a book I love, it's the Bible. When great people were being exposed to more greatness, they were separated. They were called out of their family members, of their circles, you know, to expand, to realize their greatness. Because sometimes you are in a too small place for you to grow. And that's why we have coaches, we have mentors, we have people that you can reach out to and actually get help.
Yeah, get help.
You see, what I find, Mary, is that people tell themselves these stories that they have tried enough times that change is not possible, that they actually begin to believe it.
Yes. Yes. I had to break free from that myself. Hello. Let's start with that.
So you convince yourself. I asked someone, okay, you've tried so many times. How many times have you tried? Can we actually name them? And they named 3 times and they say, okay. And they had told me I've tried 1,000 times. 3 is not 1,000.
Yeah.
3 is not. And where have you tried? So guys, there is coaching, there is mentorship, there's all these help workers that have a purpose to guide you towards your destiny.
Yes, that is key. That is key for everyone to know. Because for me, to be very transparent with you, is I was talking to a friend and I was having this discussion, and I have one friend and she told me, Mary, look, I'm talking to a life coach and my life coach helped me map my vision, my purpose, where I want to do with my life for the next 5 years. And I was like, wait, life coach, what? Huh? And so I went out because I was very desperate. I was like, I'm going to look on the internet. And I was like, and I think the other thing I feel was important, Jeff, that I want to really call out is when I chose a life coach, what I wanted to do was make sure that I got someone who connected to me and my story. You know, I was born and raised in Kenya. Fine, I don't live back in Kenya right now, but I wanted to be able to, someone who can understand my background, someone who is the same as me, can understand who I am, some person who's grounded in the same level of spirituality as I am. And so those were some of the determining factors. And I think that one thing that I feel like is important for people to know is, as they choose the resources or the people to lean into, you need to understand what is the core of your foundation and
Yes.
lean into something that aligns with that. Otherwise, you'll get direction and instruction for people who are completely different, who have a different narrative and a different belief, and then that throws you off from whom you are.
That's true. And that's why most coaches really, they offer you a consultation session to see, okay, is there a connection? Is this person, willing in that place of transformation? And I think all coaches really across the world.
Yeah.
And so
do that.
if you go for that free session and you feel, okay, there's no connection, don't engage.
Yeah.
This is crucial. This is life-changing. You need to engage. It's an investment on yourself. And so for those of you that are listening and perhaps you're looking for a coach, there's a link there. Connect with us. We actually give you the free consultation session, and you can tell, okay, is there a connection or not? If there's connection, you feel you can get help, why not? You see, the worst thing that can happen is to have this conversation, then maybe 10 years, 5 years, 15 years, we don't know. You are at the end of your life and you remember this and say, I wish. The pain of regret is one of the biggest, human pain. I wish I did this. I wish I did this. I wish. No, let's do it. Action. Massive action. Right,
I like it. So Jeff, I want us to somehow recap. I don't know if there are any questions available at this time, but as you think through, if there are any, as you review through, if there are any questions, I think I want to just bring everything full circle and really recap what we've spoken about. And I hope I can remember everything. I think the first thing is, one, change is possible for those who have been trying to change their life. It is possible. You need to change your narrative, and how you do that. And also understanding if you really need change is asking yourself, are you fulfilled? We also have to think about our mindset and our thinking, and we have to believe that we have a better life ahead of us. I think you've also mentioned that the quality of our life is based on the quality of our rituals. So we have to really identify that. We have to take some time out to reflect and ask ourselves the right questions. So I think that's, again, another important thing. And then fear, when it comes to fear, because that's going to be part of the journey of transformation, I think it's understanding that you just need to keep moving. You don't stop. You keep on pressing. When you feel it, you just take the next step. And I think that that's very important. And support systems exist. Support systems are here. Jeff is a great coach. Jeff has many coaches. He knows there's a lot of coaching going on back in Kenya and all over the world, whoever is looking for a coach. And so those are some of the key highlights of what we've shared today that I wanted to just make sure I recap and I hit the nail on the head.
Wow.
Awesome.
Well done. You've done it.
Perfect. I think me and you always have this amazing, eye-opening, phenomenal conversations. And I know lately I've been like, Jeff, we have to record the session. And it's always very funny because sometimes I'm sitting in a coffee shop and I'm replaying and I'm like, whoa, that was eye-opening, So it's really great to be able to bring everyone to the same conversation so that they can also be enlightened.
You are very inspirational. And the thing is, that's how I choose my clients. Yeah. My clients inspire me.
No, you inspire me. What? You inspire us all.
Yeah. You are inspirational. Yeah. And this has gone so well. It's inspired so many people. John Briggs is saying, making a decision to defeat fear. Good discussion, guys. Thank you, my brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, so this has been great. Anything that maybe I'm the one asking you. The journey we've walked together, really.
Okay.
What has been the biggest decision for you? I know we've talked about decision. What has been the biggest decision for you that has made the biggest shift? It could be in your state, in how you feel. Most of the time, what is the biggest decision that you have made?
I think one, it's my mindset. I think the story I have been telling myself. I recognize it. Now I recognize it. Before I wasn't. Now I recognize the story and I put a full stop to that story. I have allowed myself not to look so much at the past, to say, oh, my past joy was in the past, because I'm realizing, one, I have more wisdom. I can now make some decisions. Why is it that my younger days, when I lack the wisdom, I lack the resources, why am I looking at that as my best days were behind me? And so I have chosen to believe, affirm, recognize, realize that I have the tools, resources to create my life. And I think that mindset switch was a very important thing. I think the other thing for me is realizing that I need to be still if I need to change my life. Because for so long, it's like, I want to change my life, but I'm not asking myself the questions and I'm not being still. And every free time Mary has, oh, my friend is having a barbecue, I need to go see my friend, or I need to do this and this. And right now, for example, this whole week I've been off work and I'm just doing me, and it is so beautiful. It is so peaceful. And I think that's the other decision. But overall, what that has done in my life is, to be quite frank, I cannot remember a time when I was so peaceful, so joyful, so fulfilled. I haven't become yet who I am, but who I truly believe I am. Like, I'm not in my true greatest potential, but just embarking on that journey on its own, that alone has allowed me to sleep well all throughout the night. It's funny because I woke up this morning and I was like, God, thank you. I slept a full 7 hours and not tossing and turning about my life. I was like, that's a breakthrough. That's a breakthrough with Jeff,
Yes, amazing. I love it.
That is a breakthrough,
I love it.
And so
that's amazing.
I feel more joyful. I feel more peaceful. And I think that has been very important. That's some of what our journey has allowed. I feel like I have a purpose. I know where I want my life to be, and I know that I can get there, which wasn't there before. Before I could see it, and I'm like, oh, girl, you may not get there.
Wow, amazing.
Yes, thank you.
You know what really amazes me about you is, and sometimes as a client, you may actually go through a process and turn on the light and not know you've turned on the light. Have you ever been in a dark room?
Yes.
And then somehow lean on the switch and it's on? The lights are on. And you're wondering who touched the switch. And I've seen it in you. There's a light bulb that you turned on inside of you.
True.
That will light the rest of your life. And this is why I'm so happy for this journey. And I'm so looking forward, to even, stepping into brighter and brighter future for you. Thank you. Thank you for the courage,
I received that.
the courage, the fearlessness, even when you felt afraid. So
thank you.
Going.
Thank you so much. And I think one of the things, as we really summarize, is I just want to thank you on behalf of everyone, what you're doing, what other life coaches are doing, just inspiring us, uplifting us, helping us to really step out and become bold and become our best self now. So thank you for all the great work that you're doing and you keep on doing. And I hope that many people can be able to lean on you and that God gives you the wisdom you need to lead others. So thank you. And so as we sum this up today, if there are no other questions, Jeff, for everyone who's joined us, welcome. Jeff, we are going to hold you accountable on getting a set of questions with a link that, everyone can come and download questions to ask yourselves, questions to reflect on. So hopefully you can get that on jeffdiwa.com at some point in time, and I will hold him accountable to that. But for all of you who've joined us today, I hope you've been inspired. I hope you've been able to get some information that will help you in your journey as you try to transform your life. And I leave you with so much peace, joy, light, and abundance. Thank you, Jeff, for having me.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.